Good afternoon, good morning, depends on where you are, I guess, in the world and when you're watching this, I guess. But welcome back to another episode of the Writer's Room with Rach and Kari. If Kari can unmute her microphone.
I did. It just took a second. My phone was being an ass. And that's how we start out. We start swearing right off the bat.
This time I did good. I'm a good girl today. Not really, guys, but okay.
Mm.
We just we took a couple off. Kari had a work thing come up. Rachel had a family thing come up. Update on that. My little sister did indeed get a prom dress, which is why we had to take off
Yay.
1 week, which yeah, that was
Um,
that.
but that also means we'll just have 3 weeks back to back now. So we'll be on next Sunday and the Sunday after that too.
Yeah.
And today we were meant to be talking about all three genres: fluff, smut, and angst. But due to inactivity and the person we tried to reschedule with instead
Conflict.
couldn't be on today, so we decided that we'll mainly be talking about fluff, smut and angst, and Stefan, Rach, and I. This is going great, guys. Rach and I will
I don't know
try
what
and
you're trying to say.
we'll try and talk a little bit about fluff. But we'll have a fluff week at a later date, and it will be with supernatural jackals.
Yeah. We
Um,
have no idea when that's gonna be yet because
I do. I just don't have that duck pulled up.
oh well, yeah, no, I don't. I think I wrote it down somewhere, but it's in my planner. And my planner's like really far away.
Yeah, it's a month away or something like that.
Oh,
So we'll get to it.
okay. Let's get
Uh,
on.
okay, so
We can have this for 5 minutes.
Rachel,
Yes. Hey.
which genre do you enjoy writing the most?
The one topic that we're not talking about. I think fluff. I'm a fluff, guys. I'm a marshmallow.
Yeah,
I don't like doing anything.
I I think it's very much depending on my mood what I like. I really like writing angst, but I
What?
also like writing fluff. Smart is just I can do it if I think it fits the story, but it's not. I like reading it more than I like writing it, to be honest. Um, and
But
that
you had
brings us to the next. What do we enjoy reading the most? And I think Race is just a fluff ball, so she's gonna keep saying the same thing over and over and over.
how long did it take me to read your angst that you put me through? It took a
I,
solid like
I
2 days of just bugging. I think I'm exaggerating.
and yet you have signed up for angst bingo, sweetie.
Who made me do that?
Um, Instead of fluff bingo, which I really love.
At least I get to read.
um.
Yeah,
Oh, so
bingo. Definitely check that out, guys. It's run by Steph and Kari, right? And somebody else.
yeah, and Taylor at Impala Imagining.
Yeah, I
Um, and it's credit goes to Steph. It was her idea. She started talking
we should
about it, and we
probably talk
just
about
ran
that.
with
But
it. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
that's literally what I.
So what makes a good fluff fic? Should we talk about that a little bit before we give it to the other?
I mean, if it makes you go, "Oh my gosh, I want this life,"
I
like
don't. I think the reason why like writing angst more is because I'm always afraid I'll go over the top and make it too cheesy.
I think there's no such thing as
Um,
cheesy. There can always be more cheese. Like make
you
it.
yell at me all the time for being cheesy, so.
Well, you're you. It's different.
um,
Like I
yeah,
just, if I'm trying to, there was because I posted my fluffy thing yesterday, and I think one of the comments was like, "I want this life," and like if you just go, "Yes, this is the life that I want," that's pretty
yeah.
much how I think a good fluff is. Like if that makes you, it's like, "Yes, this is what I want my life to be like," just perfect and
I
fluffy.
think I I think that's an amazing way to describe it. That's what it should be. Um, so on that amazing description of what fluff should be, let's move on to talk more about angst and smut. And with us today are Dil at Sisterfic, and she will be a smut expert, and Torn and Fried, who is Steph, is our angst expert and also the co-host of Angst Bingo, which we might mention a few times. Okay, guys, you can unmute yourself and welcome to the show.
Can we? There we go. Steph's unmuted.
Are you with us still?
Yep. Hi.
Oh,
that's Steph. Do we have you still?
I wasn't ready. I was eating pizza.
Pizza. Jill, yeah, there we go. There we go. Steph's
there
unmuted.
We go. Now we got all of you.
Yep. Hi.
Yep. Let's.
We have you. I wasn't ready. I was eating pizza.
Okay, somebody has their YouTube still on.
Yeah, yes, I'm here. I got it.
Now we got all of you.
Yep. Hi.
So whoever has YouTube pulled up and has
I wasn't ready. I was eating pizza.
Okay.
One of you have YouTube pulled up and you need to mute it.
I got it.
Now we got all of you.
Hi.
So whoever has YouTube pulled up and has
one of you have YouTube pulled up and you need. Okay.
Well, that was fun.
One of you have YouTube pulled up and you need.
Hello.
Hello. Are we all on and YouTube is muted?
Yeah, mine's been muted forever.
Okay, Jill, do you have YouTube muted? Are you with us? Jill?
Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I cannot hear anything anymore.
Oh, God. We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Did you mute your computer? Oh, gosh.
Oh, no. It was working so well.
Okay, so Steph can hear us.
I can hear you.
Okay, Jill.
And we can hear Steph.
How does this happen, guys? Why did I say things were going well?
I don't know.
That's why you don't say things like that.
Yeah, sorry, Lacey. We are trying to figure it out. We need Jill to be able to hear us.
Nobody knows why this is happening. Okay.
My best suggestion is if her computer is not muted, jump out of the call and jump back in. That helped me when my mic didn't work earlier.
Okay. Jeff and Kari, do you guys want to go ahead and take over with Jill?
Yeah. Figure it out with Jill, and I'll start going ahead with the my mic didn't work earlier.
Guys, we tested this before.
Yeah.
We tested.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing we got two hosts. So while Rachel is figuring this out, I'm gonna talk to Steph a little bit about angst. Steph, angst, is that your favorite genre to both write and read?
Yes, absolutely.
And what makes a good angst fic?
I don't know. I think it varies on, I guess, my mood that day. Like, it could be anything from, like, death, torture, and murder, like what I wrote the other day, to just, like,
Yay, we're back in action.
Breakup fics and like, you know, anything. Pretty much anything. I'm not picky.
But I usually say there needs to be a fluff factor for it to be a good angst fic because you need to feel for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you agree with that?
Some kind of emotional attachment. There has to be, you have to form and develop an emotional attachment to a character or characters to feel anything. Otherwise, it's just kind of worthless. Yeah,
I think that's the trickiest thing in angst fics is that it can't just be dark. You need to have
Yeah.
another opponent to it as well. Otherwise, you're just relying on the show's characters. I think some people can get away with it when they are just writing canon characters because they get away with it because we already feel for them and with them. But if you're writing a really, really dark fic where a reader isn't heavily involved, or it's the actors or something like that, you need to create a bond before that. Yeah.
I guess I was trying to make my readers semi-likable. If there's no like what I did with Twist of Fate, like there was no real relationship established before that, so I threw in a little bit of it, but not much. But I tried to make her, I guess, likable so that you actually felt bad for her.
Yeah, as it in that particular fic, we don't. We'll put a link in the chat to in the video and in the Tumblr post to everything we talk about. But Twist of Fate is Steph's newest fic, and it's really, really good. But in that particular fic, it's all in her head. All the relationship you learn is kind of just in what she feels and what she experienced and what she regrets. And in Dean's head, it's not. You don't have them together before the very last moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that until I got to that moment. So that is very, very good writing. But let's talk about the angst bingo. How did the idea come about with that?
I don't know. There's just so many bingos. Yeah, that. There's so many bingos, and I was just like, you know what? Angst bingo sounds kind of cool. And then I kind of threw it away, like, no one's gonna want to do that. Then I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll just do it anyway. And I think I actually said that to you and Taylor. And it's just like, well, we'll see. And then I guess so far, well over 100 people have signed up. So apparently there's a lot of heartbreaking bitches out there.
Yeah. You know, the way to get Steph to do something is kind of try and take her idea away from her. Because, no, I don't want to do it.
Yes.
I know I don't want to do it. And I was just like, well, I'll do it with Taylor if you want to. No, it's fine. I'm doing it too. So it was Steph's idea, and it was peer pressure that got her to do it. How long have you been writing fanfics for, and how long have you been writing angst? Did you start out writing angst?
Fanfics, I guess, it was like 2015. And yeah, I think my very first one was actually angsty.
Of course it was.
I'm trying to remember because I have been following you since then, but I don't remember if you started out angst.
My very first one was called Insecurities, and it was about a witch hunt, and it was angsty. Yes, it was.
Yeah. I remember the first time I talked to you was when somebody yelled at you for not writing smut, and I got pissed.
Black dog Karina.
No, I was just it's the genre thing. Okay, is Jill back on? Because then we should probably...
I'm here.
Okay. Good. Jill, what makes a good smut fic?
That's like a really long answer. So I think one of the biggest things that make a good smut fic is the emotions into it. Like I am not, and if you read any of my fics, I'm not a good porn without plot girl.
Yeah.
Just because I write Dean so much, and I think Dean just cannot do stuff without emotion, and that's my personal opinion, and whatever. But the other thing I think is good characterization. Like if you write somebody out of character, I think it shows 10 times more when you're writing smut because it is so intimate. It would help if I could talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's what makes smut fic.
I think writing in character makes a good any fic. To be honest, it's just the that's the one thing that will make me stop reading and leave, is if people write them out of character in a horrible way. Then I'm just nope, not gonna finish this.
The biggest thing.
But yeah, you're right. It some things in smut makes it worse somehow. Sometimes when it's out of character. What genre did you start writing, and how long have you been writing for, Jill?
So I actually started out writing angst, and I'm still a very, very angsty bitch. Steph can. I just thought you laugh.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I love him. So I started writing that, and I think my first reader insert was Amnesia, which has death. So yay. And I actually didn't write smut for a really, really long time. It took me a while to dive in because I was so, like, I felt like I couldn't get it right. I couldn't write it right because I think of the emotions in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think I've been writing almost 2 years now, ish.
What made you change genres? What made you start writing smut?
I have zero idea. I just kind of got hooked on it. It's because, like, once I just said fuck it and I started writing it, it came a lot easier. I think, like, a lot of people come and they'll ask me, like, oh, I've never written smut before, and they're scared to write it. And I think once you reach that point where you're like, screw it, I'm just going to do this, it gets easier.
Oh, yeah.
No, it doesn't. It's still, I have written a lot of smut, especially at some point. And to me, it's always like pulling teeth. It's like, I can write it. I don't enjoy writing it. I enjoy writing angst, and I enjoy writing fluff. Smut is kind of, I don't know, it's a necessary evil sometimes, I guess.
Well, we have a question in the chat, which I know we're not at that part yet, but it's actually really kind of in the same thread. But Lacey wants to know, where do you get inspiration from?
For
both. It can go for either one. So both of you.
Yeah. Let's start with Steph. She started talking.
Yeah, go for it.
It was kind of a stream of consciousness thing, but I get it from everywhere, and I know that sounds pretty cliche, but Twist of Fate on my brain, I guess, because it's the most recent thing that I wrote, and I didn't put this in my author's note because I know I'm gonna get hate for it. I'll probably get hate for it now, but and Jill knows where this came from. But that was inspired from Auschwitz.
I mean,
it was inspired from what?
Auschwitz concentration camp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
People who read it messaged me and asked me, and I straight up told them the truth about that. But yeah, it was like, it came to me, I read an article or something on Holocaust Remembrance Day, and I was sitting there and I was like, you know what would be really cool? A demon death camp.
Yeah.
I realized what an awful person I am, but I went with it anyway. So
see, that's the difference between you and me, because I get those really twisted ideas too, and I go like, no, I can't write that, and Steph's like, hey.
No, I went to Jill and I said, I can't write this, and Jill said, yes, you can, and so I did.
Yeah, it was funny because she started messaging me and she's like, I can't do this. And I think Steph messages me when she knows I'm going to encourage her to do it anyways.
I do. It's true.
Yeah. That's what I use it for, by the way. If there's something I'm not sure I can write, I'm like, I can't write this, and I know she'll always encourage it. If I ask Rachel, she's like, no, bitch, don't write that. So if I want to get pushed to write something, I'll go to Steph, or if I want to get talked out of it, I'll go to Rachel.
I actually asked 2 people, and it was the 2 people who baited it for me. So it was Jill and it was Athena, and they both said, yeah, do it. That's awful. Do it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
True friends.
Athena could go both ways, though. She could start yelling at you not to. And
Seafoots
for once, Athena is Dean's sweetheart, 20 what?
23.
Yeah, 23, and we had her on a few weeks ago, so she's a friend of the show as well.
Yeah, and all of the old episodes are on our YouTube page, so you can always go back and binge watch or binge listen to those. So,
and they are also on my Tumblr. There's a page called Writers Room, and you can see who all the guests are and what the themes are.
and I am not
On
that organized, so you can find that on her page.
Exactly. Okay, so
I made this thing happen. I
yeah,
don't make it.
where do you get the inspiration from, Jill?
If you say porn, so help me God.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's all.
I was just about to say. So our dirty little secret have a new kink to it every time. Is your sex life just that kinky, or what do you get all those from?
Yes, I wish. That would be so nice. I don't know, because like I never actually picked the kinks ahead of time. I would start writing, and then I would start writing the smut, and I'd be like, "Oh, they need to do this."
YouTube is gonna flag this as inappropriate, guys.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably.
I'm an inappropriate person. I can't help it.
Yeah, but okay, it's angst and smut. It's probably inappropriate. So
Yeah.
if you
We're either killing people or fucking people.
listeners under 18, be advised, because we're not gonna. Yeah, we're probably not gonna.
If you've made it to
swear words and stuff to ourselves.
if they've made it to 8 episodes through, I mean, that's
All right. So, inspiration-wise, I don't know. I write really well when I'm feeling like shit. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I feel like when I'm like feeling feelings, it works really well to write at that point in time. But I kind of agree with Steph. Like, you kind of get inspiration everywhere. And it's whether you listen to a song on the radio and it just really, really hits you hard, or you're watching a TV show and you're like, oh, I like that idea, or I like that trope, or I like that feel. I want to write it. So, yeah.
sorry.
And there was Ari was in here at some point, and yeah, that's yes. She asks when DL is gonna write more Jensen, and since I concur, I'm gonna ask her that right now.
When I get to it, Jensen is so hard to write. Like,
no, he's
Dean,
not.
Like, oh my god, like Dean, I can write any day of the week. I'm like, I get you, I understand you, I can write you. Jensen, I'm like, you're so frustrating.
Well, so what makes him frustrating?
Because he's not easy. I like stuff easy. No, I just
he's not easy, says the smut.
I didn't mean easy in that way. Fine.
You guys are freaking.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, I'm crying.
I'm gonna ask him next Sunday. I'm gonna ask him if he's easy.
Okay, so that's all we have for this episode. Hope you'll join us. Okay, before we kill all of our guests and our host.
Anyways, so to answer the Jensen question, Ari, you're gonna have to wait.
until he gets easier.
Yep.
Okay. Rachel, do you want to move on, because I lost all train of thought?
I have the attention span of a squirrel, man. Okay, let's go back to our original questions. Wait, no, we already did those. Well, we didn't really do. Have you changed genres from when you first started? This is for both of you, so.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, but
So why did you change and why did you not change? I did not keep track of who said what, so
I don't like change. So
fair enough. So Jill, you said you did change. What made you change?
Oh shit. I don't know. It just I felt I could write better stories if they had everything in it. Like if you read Our Little Secret, it has really, really like tooth-rotting fluff. It has like these really angsty moments, and then it has these really smutty, intimate moments. And I think a good mix is what I like to write because I'm a wordy bitch.
I mean, I agree with that. I just can't do it, so I don't change.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, well, that's the same. That's the same with me. I didn't write angst at all at first. And I swore up and down I couldn't do it, and until Steph kicked
Kari
me
took
enough
over.
that I started. No, but I was just my point with this was that people need a Steph because he's a pussy bitch, and she'll get you to write whatever she wants you to write eventually. Okay, well, where did we go?
Street, apparently.
There's a Squirrel Moose Winchester asked. This is a question for Steph for the writer's room.
Oh no.
How the heck does she angst? I'm a writer and I suck at angst. Any pointers, preferably a detailed how-to list.
Oh god. I don't know. I think I'm just a horrible person.
I don't agree.
I am better
a lot.
Angry. Like if I'm moody that day, my angst will be off the wall.
I mean, that makes sense. Oh.
Yeah. and I have murdered real life people in my angst. Like I have made them into characters and I have murdered them brutally. So I mean, I will take my emotions from my real life and throw them into my writing and see how that works, and it tends to work very well.
I think Stephen King said at some point that he kills people in his stories to not do it in real life.
Exactly, yes.
That's pretty much how I look at angst.
Yeah.
That's how I get
killer. Probably if I didn't stick it out somewhere. Also,
so the answer is get really mad at someone, or what is the answer here, Steph?
Well, yeah, getting inside like the characters that you know. Also, like I write a lot of Dean, I write a lot of Jensen. Getting like knowing Dean well, and I feel like I guess I do. People say that I write him well.
You do.
I agree.
Just being able to get inside Dean's head and knowing what Dean's gonna do, in the moment and how he would feel in that moment, and writing him that way, being able to predict what he's going to do based on what you've written, and also with your readers, like develop your reader or your original character or whatever you're writing and give them a personal history. Like I realize that a lot of people try to make their readers bland so that everyone can read it, and I don't do that. I try to flesh them out and give them a history and give them something, because otherwise I feel like it doesn't do it justice when you make them super undetailed.
Yeah. Can we talk about that a little bit though, because you are both really, really good at writing readers that are relatable but are still people. How do you accomplish that?
I think the biggest thing is everybody is crazy or messed up in their own way. And I think writing the readers not as perfect people, but as people with real problems and real issues that everybody has had at one point in their life makes it relatable.
Yes.
And we have a question. We have a couple questions in the chat, which I threw into the doc. From Ari, question for Steph: is she gonna kill us with fragments? Which I haven't read because I don't read angst, but you know.
I think it's more
I have, and I'm mad she's slow.
People do have lives, Kari.
I think it's more of a flanked story, and I do know where it's going. I was gonna try to start writing the next chapter before Vegas. I don't think I'm gonna make it there though, but the next chapter of it. It's going to be based around regarding Dean.
Okay.
Yay.
That's
I
hard.
don't want to try again.
That, well, for Fragments, for those of you who don't know, that reader was brought back by Amara with Mary. That reader has no memories. And I think with regarding Dean and Dean also losing his memories, then and her fighting to get them back for him. And in the next chapter of Fragments, that's going to bring them a lot closer together than what they already are. It's going to give him a greater understanding of her and her feelings, and then it's going to make them fight harder to get her memories back in a way that's not going to ruin her.
And it's sort, you're gonna kill me for saying that, but it's sort of a series rewrite as well, but but just starting.
Yeah.
In the new season.
Anna kept saying that, and I kept denying it, but no, she's right. It's a
yeah.
it's a season.
Finally. Finally.
And Erin had one in the chat as well, which just Erin is joining us. She's our next week, right?
Yeah, she's on next week. And she was the week we had to push because there was prom dressing and whatnot. For Rachel.
This is so pretty, guys.
I agree. I got sent every single picture. So I agree. They picked the right one.
I was not allowed to.
One. Okay, so back to Erin asked,
what motivated you to start focusing on angst?
I don't know. I just think there's a certain beauty in pain.
Well, that's eloquent. Nice. I just thought you liked to break hearts.
I do. I do enjoy getting screamed at for it a lot more than I think I should, probably.
I agree.
But there really is, when angst is done right, there really is beauty in it. And that's, I guess that's also the reason that we all love Supernatural in some way. That show is not gonna end happy, and we all know that. Yeah. And if we keep watching and telling ourselves,
the marshmallow
see, you're lying to yourself. It's not, that show is not gonna end happy.
But I mean, like,
and I kind of don't want it to either.
No, but with
it wouldn't feel real if it didn't end heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, not all of us are
angst out there that like it makes it relatable to you on a certain level. Like, you know that there are people out there, even if they're fictional characters, that are dealing with things the same way that you do. Like when I talked to Jensen at one con and I was like, thank you for portraying Dean away. Even though it's a fictional problem, it's still relatable to people out there that experience the same types of problems, albeit not monsters and crap, but like familial problems and anxiety problems and things like that. Thank you for portraying Dean in a way that's still relatable to everyone.
Yeah, it's just on a bigger scale. It's still PTSD, it's still depression, it's still stuff that all of us can go through and are going through, so it's definitely relatable, and they are doing a very good job at showing that.
Yeah.
Do we want to switch into the questions that we had?
Yeah, I already started that. Squirrel Moose Tester asked Jill. I also got a question for Jill. I'm not sure everyone is asking this question. Where does she get all the inspiration for the amazing smut? We already talked about this a little bit, but how did it come up? How do you come up with all the different kinks? And do you have a list you go off, or is it story related with what?
For me, it's very, very, very story related. It's kind of whatever fits in best at that point in time. Inspiration wise, I don't know. There's like no good way to answer that.
You threw it out. You threw it out at some point to your followers, didn't you? Asking for kink ideas for.
Yes. Oh yes, I did. I forgot about that. I actually ended up using some of them. So right away at the beginning, especially like, and I keep going back to OLS, but it's so recent because I just finished up that series. is I threw it out there because at first it was just going to be a straight porn series, and then I realized I can't do just porn. It doesn't work that way in my brain, and I can't write Dean without feelings. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So at that point, I made a big list, and I had a list of like 100 kinks, and I probably still have it on my Google Docs somewhere. And I'm like, oh, this one fits well. Oh, they're pissed at each other. This one works well. You know, and it kind of like, each one has like a good emotion tied to it, or like a headspace that you would have to be in to do that kink. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah, but that's a usual smut series could be just, okay, we are drawing from a bag and we're trying all these different kinks. Yours were never really planned ahead to them either. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was really impressed with how you tied it into the story and the moment, and how well these kinks fit what was going on with the two of them emotionally at that point in time.
Well, thank you. And it's kind of like funny because they started with a list. Like, I just remember this. They did like the first 5 parts, they had a list, but that went by the wayside when they figured out they liked each other.
Yeah.
It's like they got over their insecurities and they're like, oh, screw it. We're just going to try all this shit.
Well, if you have read the amazing 12 Years of Christmas, which you made it into, Dean always knew. She just didn't. And I really love that. You need to write more for that series from Dean's point of view, because that was just a thing of beauty. That was my favorite thing about Christmas. That was those little stories.
Thank you. I am planning on going back and writing some of the parts from Dean's point of view, just because I love me some pining Dean. Like, I love when he is like denying emotions and stuff like that, because he does that a lot. But
yeah,
it's like 97% of his character.
Let's just push this down. That's his theory.
That's like literally most of his personality trait.
Nope.
A little bit.
But okay. I think it's not that he.
Okay.
He still feels it. He still feels it. He just doesn't vocalize it, and there's a big difference in that. And Gil and Steph are both really good at writing that, which is one of the things I enjoy about tafics. Okay, moving on to we got Aaron in the dark as well. She's at Black Type 7. For the writer's room, do you write with a specific goal? What?
Did we talk about this first one for Steph?
Yeah.
We
did. Yeah.
We talked about pointers. How did I miss that?
Yeah. I got them under control.
Okay, I think that was when okay, sorry.
Okay, for the writer's room, do you write with a specific goal in mind, Steph?
Not always. I'm kind of a seat of my pants kind of writer. Like, I come up with an idea and I don't really flesh it out all that well. I'll start kind of writing it and it'll run away from me, and I'll end up sometimes with an entirely different ending than what I planned, sometimes with the same ending as what I had planned.
Does that go for series as well? Like, do you know where Fragments is gonna end?
No, I do not.
Or with all your heart, do you know where that's gonna end?
Vaguely.
Have you decided between the three?
No, I haven't.
Damn it. I was kind of hoping I could get that out of you, but if you haven't decided, it's not easy.
No. And I actually added a new plot twist to that one too.
Steph,
so
just
that's what I mean.
Don't hurt my babies.
That's why I can outline things, because like I start writing them and things happen and I'm like, oh well, you know what would be even worse is if I did that.
But I do that too though. I have an outline at the beginning and I just add to it or change it as
no, because this would destroy like the entire, and like I can't.
Yeah, well, I can't control Dean any more than anyone else can, so he always end up messing up my outlines. So I just gave up and changed it every time he does that.
even with like one shots and stuff, I might have a specific ending in mind, and then it goes in a completely different direction. So, no.
What about you? Do you write with a goal in mind, Jim?
Oh, never. Like I start to, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to do this, and then it does its own thing because characters are very stubborn and they do their own thing. So I just kind of write what I'm feeling at the moment. Like I'll say, oh, I want this to happen. Like with the series I'm writing right now, Break a Little, I'm like, oh, I know I want this character to die, but I just don't know how they're gonna die yet. You know?
I thought you were our smut person. Why are we talking about killing people and our smut person?
I'm sorry, because we were talking about.
She is both. She is both.
Nice.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a smut person, but she's an angsty smut person.
Fine, we can reword that for smut. I want these two people to fuck. I just don't know when I want them to do that yet.
There you go.
Okay, so moving. Where did we get to? I was in the middle of Aaron's question. Do you want to make your reader feel a specific emotion while they read, or make sure to include a particularly saucy moment? Don't do that. I was trying to read a question and she changed paragraphs on me. Oh, Rachel, you suck.
You have to admit, now it's easier to read.
Okay, now you get to read it because I'm sulking. Ask them.
You want the reader to feel a specific emotion when they read, or especially that's more leaning towards Steph, but also Jill, because I mean, we emotions and porn at the same time. But or do you want to include a particularly saucy moment? And Aaron, that phrasing there, honey, saucy moments. Don't laugh. She's laughing in the chat.
So for me, I think the biggest part of a saucy moment is the emotion behind it. Like, especially because I primarily write Dean. I have like 2 Jensen fics, but I write Dean. I think he shows his emotion through intimacy and touch a lot. So I think you get that when you're writing smut, or at least I try to.
What about
That's
you?
what I got.
Do you want people to feel a specific emotion when you're writing?
Generally pain. Yes.
Do you bear that in mind, or do you just focus on the story? Do you think about, oh, I want them to cry here, I want them to react a certain way here?
Sometimes, but a lot of times I know it's bound to happen just from the whole aspect of the story itself. Other times, I mean, no. Sometimes I just write the story and go with it. It really depends. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for this question. I just kind of go with it and see what happens.
Well, there you go.
I'm still lost.
How are you lost? Okay, this one's for Jill then. It's continuation. If you do, which we established that you do, how do you set about making sure you accomplish that in your writing without sacrificing the story? Erin asked hard questions, okay?
Yeah, she did. That's a hard question.
Y'all can get her back.
I think you could.
Yeah, everyone that Erin has asked a question, go send her an ask and make her think next week.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Shit. Hard question.
And we are live, so we can't honk baby's horn over Jill. You'll just have to excuse her.
I'm pretty sure I've dropped
Oh,
it 3 times. Oh, well.
yes. Steph dropped it before me. I just want to point this out.
I
totally
started out by saying S, so I think you're good.
Okay, I think I might have an answer. I don't know if it makes sense or not. I think you can write smut without sacrificing your story if it's in an appropriate spot.
Yeah.
In your story. Like, it shouldn't be okay, that's a lie. I was gonna say it shouldn't be the first thing in your story, but that's a lie. If you read Lullaby, the first opening scene of that fic is them messing around. But like, it needs to make sense. Like, they shouldn't be in the middle of shooting somebody and then are suddenly all over each other. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Now I kind of want to write that just to prove a point.
I feel like too, and I don't even write smut, but I feel like challenge accepted.
All right, again,
I mean, you're gonna
take all for this week. Pulling the plug.
Did that make sense?
We will be looking forward to seeing shooting people and having sex at the same time from Steph.
I just seriously had like a serial killer Dean AU pop up in my head where they shoot someone and then fuck each other immediately after.
Okay, but like, that would make sense. Okay.
You're welcome. There you go.
Okay, so we're expecting a collab soon.
You guys knew what I meant.
We're not expecting a collab soon. You heard it here first, guys. Okay, this is a train wreck. Where are we going with this?
You were trying to get me to answer a hard question, and it wasn't working.
All right, we had a question in the chat from Lacey. For each of you, who are your character? Or what are your favorite characters to write? They are right to look in English.
Dean and Jensen.
Okay, I thought you said Demon Jensen, and I was like,
oh yeah, I like that. I'm gonna do that.
Demon Jensen. Like, I'm on board with that. Steph, how about you? Or not Steph, Jill. Sorry, wrong person. My bad.
My favorite character, right? Dean. Hands down. Like, I'm so in love with his character. It's ridiculous.
Well, Lacey, there you go.
What about you, Rachel? Who's your favorite?
Don't ask. I'm the interviewer, not the interviewee.
No.
Oh, we can ask you questions, Bob.
Yeah. It's always been the style of the show is that it's a conversation more than an interview. So type it and answer. Who's your favorite, Rachel? We're not moving on until you're answering.
I mean, I can just keep on. I can just move on.
Rachel, now I want to know.
Probably Dean. Yeah, I guess I get Dean.
Yeah.
Bro,
Dean and Danielle for me lately. I love writing Danielle, but Dean for sure.
Not gonna lie,
I need to write more Dean. Again, I miss writing him.
Not gonna lie, writing this Jensen and Danielle poly that I'm writing for Karina's challenge thingy. The what is it called? Kari, help me.
House Full of Girls. Oh, the Seasons of Love challenge. That was what you were looking
like for. This. I've got this kind of universe, but not really. I mean, Jensen's still on the show, and Jensen does Jensen, but it's a poly between him, Danielle, and the reader, and they have like 4 kids, and it's all fluff. It's literally the entire thing is just fluff. That's the whole point of it.
I'm shocked.
There's no point. There's no plot. It's just the domestic fluff. And like that pairing is that me? That's not me.
I don't know who is plinging, but somebody is plinging.
It's not me.
I don't think it's me.
It's me. Taylor's snapping me.
But just that that pairing is so fun to write. Because you have so many different dynamics, and like you have a reader with a personality, which always makes readers actual characters.
We have Lacey being very insisting about punk cast.
Oh,
I don't think either of us writes that much cast.
No.
I enjoy writing him as a side character,
I
in
hate
my
writing
fics,
fast.
especially in my AUs. But I don't write a lot of Cass. I want to get better at it, but it's more. I like writing Misia better than I like writing Cass because Cass speaks freaking weird.
She has another really cool question. Could you ever write deaf/hard of hearing characters? I'm hard of hearing and love reading those.
I actually I got one coming on my AU bingo. It's an OC little girl in a Danielle fic. I had a request for that. So it's the ADA befriending a little girl that's deaf and is from a horrible home, and it's basically Jensen and Danielle taking her in and adopting her.
I would like to. I started to. I've written Eileen a few times, minimally in a couple things. Daddy's Little Love Bug probably the most because I wrote her with Sam there, and I also might write them having a child in that series at some point and give them a hard of hearing or deaf child. Consider that. But I also have been considering writing. I have loss of a sense on my angst bingo card, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that specifically, but I considered possibly a deaf hunter for Dean, or Dean losing a sense in that way, possibly Dean's hearing maybe, or just scrapping that all together and
Steph just read
it. So
think of it now.
I haven't decided on Dean or Jensen for that as of yet, but if I did it, I don't know if I'd want to make it Dean losing a sense or the reader losing a sense. So.
I know for a fact.
I really enjoy writing Eileen. I started it's a side pairing in my Ties That Bind. We haven't gotten to that yet, so spoiler alert. But Sam and Eileen are living together in that one. And I have one shot coming up that's also an AU for my AU bingo. That's director Sam, and it's also a Eileen fic. But I've started writing her more, and I really enjoy it. And I also kind of want to do both a blind reader or blind Dean at some point, or a hearing impaired reader.
Yeah,
I had a few people contact me when I had the mute deaf square.
I don't know if I have that one or not. I forget what I have on my AU bingo card now.
Yeah, I had a few people contact me that really wanted me to write some of those, and it made me realize how few there actually are in fan fiction, and it kind of made me want to do that more.
There's a lot of
blindness
that are deaf.
What?
I think because blindness is easier to write than deafness is.
Yeah, that's a lot of things too.
I mean, I think I could.
Yeah.
I probably feel like I could do it. Because my freshman year of college, which I'm in my third year now, but my freshman year, my roommate was hard of hearing, like extremely hard of hearing. She didn't sign, but she did wear hearing aids, and she does read lips. I'm still in contact. I was texting her yesterday, but so
also your cousin, so
in that part, I was gonna keep that one closer to, but okay, thanks, Kari. But yes, she is my cousin, so I mean, I still family things, but so I've kind of like, I feel like as someone who's lived with someone like that and has a decent relationship with someone, decent, I say decent. I also, yeah, there's other factors involved there, but as someone who's lived with someone like that, I feel like I could probably at least accurately write living with someone that's hard of hearing. Because I've been there, I've done that. I've made poor jokes about what I say. I used to say that I was going to carry around Tic Tacs and throw them at her because she wouldn't listen to me because she couldn't hear me. I was going to throw Tic Tacs at her to get her attention. Which, I mean, she's my cousin. We've known each other since kids. She knows I wasn't being mean or offensive, but it was just a joke. But like that kind of, I feel like I could write it because from the other end of living with somebody.
I wrote a preference at some point, also for a hearing impaired reader, and I wrote Dean as he would tend to forget sometimes and just talk to her, and
Oh yeah,
he actually
absolutely.
did that later on in a deleted scene where he started talking to Eileen behind the screen. So I got that. But people came back to me and said that's actually that they actually liked him forgetting because that means he just thinks of them as normal and it's not something you tiptoe around.
I was about to say
So
that.
I really kept that in mind for when I'm writing
I've never
it later
seen
on.
Dean view someone he's ever met with a disability as abnormal, or even someone without a disability.
No.
Like when Charlie came along, he never was like, "Oh, she's gay." Ew. He was just like, "Oh, hey, Charlie."
He doesn't see
Yeah.
anybody any different, which is kind of nice.
No. Like Dean's more of just like the people are people, what the fuck ever kind of person. He doesn't really discriminate.
Which is one of those things we just love about Dean. Like, honestly.
Yeah. Agreed.
Dean is Dean.
But now we agree that we all love Dean. Let's move on. Where did we get to?
That was just
Dean's
one that I
Athena?
called
Athena? Hi, I have a question for the writer's room. Am I late? No, you're not late. So for Steph, what's your favorite angsty fic and why?
You could ask me this on any different day and I will give you a different answer. Today it's Twist of Fate. Tomorrow it will probably be something different.
It has been a twist of fate for a few days because you were yelling at me and were mad that you had to give the Rex ahead of time.
I know.
Rex ahead of time. But we have been talking about it and it will be linked. So you got got it in anyway. And for Jill, what do you think is the most important thing to get right for a smut fic?
Where your hands are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep track of the limbs.
When you start writing group too, like you start writing group smut, that's a whole new level of wear our hands.
Yeah, and just don't let people grow extra limbs in the middle of everything because it just throws everyone off.
Oh, and then keep track of like what clothing is on and off because like I've even caught myself like taking somebody's bra off twice. Like you know, like you can't. That doesn't happen.
I also reread once, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, maybe he needs to get his pants off before he can start actually."
Alrighty. What's that even answer?
What? Keep track of limbs and clothes. Most important thing.
And make sure that humans bend that way.
Oh yeah, that's really important.
I've read some fics where I'm like, humans don't bend that way.
Yeah, it kind of depends.
Well, yeah,
if you're a contortionist, I'm sure you can bend that way. I think Derek can bend more ways than Jensen can, but
I was bending something. I think it was Maggie. Yeah, it was something. It was a Negan thing for Maggie, and I was like, are you sure people can bend that way? And she goes, "Yep, I'm sure."
Yeah.
Maggie, no.
Yeah.
Maggie, no.
And I was just about to make a joke, and I remembered we're live, and I probably shouldn't. Maggie is Winchester Swoonathon, by the way, and she's a future guest of the show.
Yeah, she's gonna be coming with us in a bit. Not like a bit, like in a couple weeks.
Okay, we talked about the podcast thing and established we don't write cast that much. You can go poke Rachel; she does sometimes.
You know, if we yeah, I'll occasionally. I don't know. I'll think about it.
I do once in a while, but I don't really write him in AU. Unless it's
I can't write Cass in a regular U. And I don't think I would ever write Cass in AU because Cass's character, as much as I love him on the show, makes me crazy to write, and I would probably throw myself into traffic.
Yeah, I don't include him a lot because he's so hard to write.
I'll say I prefer writing Cass to Sam. Sam is
No, I prefer
infuriating to write.
Neither. Like on a scale of 1 to 100, they're both negative 1 billion on my who do I prefer to write list.
Alrighty.
They make me crazy. I don't get either one of them, and I can't do it. Not as main characters anyway. I can include them as side characters, which I do quite often, but I'm just like, oh my god.
I was just gonna say the same exact thing. I can write. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. You're the guest. You talk, and I'll be quiet.
What? I'm sorry. Who are you? Okay, I'm worried now. I think Karina's been abducted by aliens. Cause
shut up and let Jill talk.
Okay, I was gonna say the same thing as Steph. Like, I can write Sam as a side character all day long, but if you want him as a pairing, I'm like, yeah, can't do it.
The way I have been doing it is writing them. I started out writing Dean and just Dean, and the way I added more was writing them in as side characters and slowly becoming more comfortable with them. I have written Sam and I have written Cass. I don't do it that often, but I have done it. The biggest jump I ever did was jumping to real people fics, which is no problem anymore. And you can blame Steph for that one and Aaron. But
I feel like I'd be more comfortable writing Jared than I would be writing Sam or Cass even.
Yeah, it's the same. I prefer writing Jared and Misha to writing Cass and Sam. I prefer writing Misha to anyone except for Jensen and Dean, but
well, because you're weird like Misha.
Misha throws me for a loop. I can't write him.
I really can't either.
I really love the unpredictability of him and getting that written into fics. I like that. He's unpredictably weird.
Unpredictability is what makes him so hard, though.
My phone's ringing. Sorry, guys.
Okay, we got an anonymous saying this is for writer's room. Do anyone of you would you rewrite your older fics?
I'll delete my older fic.
Do you ever read an old one and you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe I wrote that?
Yes, I've literally thought about taking some fics off of my master list and like deleting the tags so nobody can find them. Maybe not delete them entirely, but like I don't want them seen.
I like them being on there and just showing that there's a development in what I have been doing. I am rewriting a fic right now. I'm rewriting Ties That Bind, and the main reason for that is I kind of stopped writing it, and it very much showed where I was as a writer at that point when I wanted to pick up and start writing it again. And I didn't want it to be. I didn't want to be a distinctive jump. Okay, she wrote this a year ago and now she started writing again. So I took it down and did some changes to it. It's still pretty much the same fic, but it's worded differently and I changed it a little bit. But as for one shots and everything else, no. I'm no.
Yes and no. Some of them I would probably like to revisit, and other ones are actually probably better than some of the crap I've put out now.
We've talked about this stuff. You don't put out crap.
No. I just roll my eyes quietly at her, but
yeah. We've had that conversation many times, Steph. You do not write crap. Don't me.
Yeah. This is amazing. It's like having two people fight on one side and then two people fight on the other. So Rachel and I can just bigger and Steph and Jill can just bigger.
I'm distracted. I found Indiana Jones on TV and just saying.
It was on last night, and I've still never seen it.
Wait, which one?
How have you not seen Indiana Jones?
Temple of Doom.
Okay, Temple of Doom's on right now. It's not the greatest. I mean, it's Temple of Doom.
Yeah. It's not the one you want to start with.
If you're starting with Indiana Jones, you either start with the first one or start with the third one. You don't start with the second or the fourth.
The fourth does not exist, Rachel. Why would you even mention the fourth?
Because
it was awful.
Away from it.
It doesn't exist. Can we just agree it doesn't exist?
It doesn't exist. But I agree. You have to make sure that people who don't know that it doesn't exist make sure that they do. But you have to start with either first or the third. It doesn't matter if you start with first or third, which is just one of those.
Do we have any more questions in the chat?
I mean, I'm pretty passionate about it.
Steph puts out works of art. We agree with that.
Sometimes, not always.
I love your art teacher Dean one. What?
Yeah, I like that one. Even though it made me want to scream. It's so many words. Oh my god.
I love all the words.
I was like, I'm never writing again. 8 billion words later, I'm never writing anything.
Art therapy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Shut up.
Don't tell me what to do, Steph.
Do you want to just sit back and watch them fight, Rachel?
I like having 4 guests on because they can bicker like we do. Like, I'm liking this.
Yeah. Especially when it's guests that know each other well, then they can just bicker. Okay, since there are no questions right now, if you got any questions about any of the works as we start talking about them, you're welcome to throw them in there. We'll keep an eye on the chat still. But we're moving on to the next part of the show, and we're going to start out with Steph. We asked you to bring a few fics with you. Can you give us a title and the parent and a short summary and what you like about them?
Sure, but I don't remember what I sent, so hold on a second.
You sent the pin below.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I allowed to talk about how much I hate stuff for some of these fics?
You can add that as we go. Since we have 2 guests, the guests are free to yell at each other during the segment. I'm gonna be yelling at Steph when we get to one of these anyway, so.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you guys are talking about Twist of Fate, and I'm just like, I really want to scream because Steph totally broke my heart. And like, I'm sitting there betaing it for her, and I'm at work, and I'm trying to keep it together, and I'm just like, I really, really hate her right now.
I got through everything right until I got to that damn letter, and then I started crying.
Okay. So I guess I send the pain below, which everyone seems to really love. It was my first Jensen reader series. I think it was my first Jensen reader ever, actually.
Maybe. I don't know. I remember it. I think you've done it once or 2 before that.
Maybe. I don't know exactly. That was a long time ago. I'm really bad at summaries. Basically, it was Jensen and an addict reader. She had a stalker who beat the crap out of her at VanCon. And after that, she became an addict, but he kept stalking her to the point where she kind of had to be. And Jensen was there pretty much the entire time. I would say there was some bickering and things, as you would expect, but he did stay the entire time, and it actually ended well. Which was shocking.
And I only wanted to slap Jensen once doing that, so he was there for her.
The second one is the one that you want to kill me for. So if you want to go ahead,
I'm gonna scream at you when I ask you the questions. So just
you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'll bite my tongue.
All right. The second one was Free. I wrote that a really long time ago. That was a Dean reader that I wrote for a challenge for Kitten of Doomage. She told me to make her cry. I think I succeeded. Yeah, I think I did, actually. Basically, that one. I don't even remember how it started. I probably should have reread these before I
I can remember how it started. It started with a fluffy, sweet moment,
Yes, it did.
and them being at the lake and
Oh yeah.
and just watching the sunset together. And Steph does a complete 180 on you, and it's just they are ghosts and just stuck in a time loop and reliving this over and over again. And they have to be set free so they can move on to heaven. And she freaking decided to do that by burning baby. And I hate her for it. And it's I don't cry reading angst. I cried reading that. And you kill Dean, kill everyone. I don't care. Don't burn baby.
Kill Dean. Yeah. Okay.
And then, moving on. Because I'll never apologize for that.
I'm just gonna be here grumbling while you move on.
Drugs don't work.
I have one thing for you, Steph, before you move on. I think that's one of the things you do really, really, really well is like when you fluff, you hardcore fluff. Like it's tooth rotting, it's doing that, and then you do the 180 in the middle of the story, and it's like, hold on, wait, what? What just happened? Why am I crying?
And then actually, if you go through the rec list of her own rec list, she does that more than once in these. It's just you are in this complete little fluff bottle, and then the rock is just pulled out from under you, and what happened?
I don't think I fluff that well if it's a pure fluff fic, but if it's an angst fic, I will fluff the hell out of it and make you like, oh yes, this is a lovely little ball of cotton candy, and then dead ass in the middle, you're like, what the fuck?
I'm just gonna be here pointing to Daddy's little love bug because that's all fluff and amazing.
That's the fluffiest shit in the world. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third one was Drugs Don't Work. I wrote that for Angst Appreciation Day last year, and also a challenge. It was one of Taylor's challenges, I think. And that one was Dean was sent to purgatory. Sam left this reader, and she went off on her own and found a way to harvest gin poison to keep herself in a world with Dean and her children that was not real. Then went psychotic when Dean finally found her, and that ended fairly badly also.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to count how many of Steps ended happy.
Ended happy?
And that's one of the... I was really hardened that day. I host Angst Appreciation Day, and I will again this year in June. So I made a point of reading as many of them as I could. So I felt really, really hardened going through reading all this crap that was meant to make me cry. And I got to Steph's, and I swear to God, she almost broke me again. So, word to the wise, don't think you can harden yourself and read Steph's stuff, because she'll still get you.
I'll Never Stop. That was a Jensen reader that I wrote for another challenge. It was a Winchester Writes challenge, and that one, the reader was hurt on set. It seemed like a minor head injury at the time. She went out with Jensen, Jared, and Jen to a bar or whatever, and as it turns out, it was not so minor of an injury as they thought. And for spoiler purposes, I'll leave it there. If you guys want to spoil it, feel free. And then Buried Memories was a Dean reader, a super long one that I did not intend to get that long. But I actually really like that one, which is rare for me. But that one, the reader had siblings that were killed very early on in her life, and Hunt brought all those memories back. And then she stopped sleeping for a while because of it, was up for days, completely lost her mind, really, kind of. And then once that was found out, there was an offer from Cass basically to either take the memories away or whatever, and you get to see what she ended up choosing in the end with that one.
Still, I had a few questions I forgot putting in here, so let's start with and-frayed memory, since that's the last one you did. Do you, it kind of has a happy ending, that because, but do you think it will stay that way? Do you think those memories will stay buried?
Yes, I do.
I didn't trust you to say that.
I think that decision for Cass to take them away, since that was her decision, that they'll stay gone. I kind of based that off of, I guess, Lisa and Ben a little bit. I don't know why.
But it makes more sense in your story, because the Lisa and Ben thing doesn't make a whole lick of sense, but in your story it makes sense.
Yeah. Whether or not I ever go back to it, and like if Dean decides to bring those memories back, which I don't think he would do to her. That's another thing. Or
no, but somebody else could, another angel or a demon or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's more what I thought. What the reaction would be if.
Yeah.
But it was done in a way. It wasn't Dean making that choice. Cass went into her mind, and it was her choice. It wasn't something that he did to her.
No.
So she can't really blame him. And then the drugs don't work. The DN poison thing that she's harvesting. That's such a unique idea. How did you come up with that?
I have no idea. It literally just popped in my head one morning, and I was like, oh, "Okay, we'll go with that." I don't think I've seen anyone do that, and I really like it, so we're gonna do that. And
yeah, I've never seen anyone do that. It's a very, very unique take on a DN dream, for sure. And then we agreed that there's the beauty in angst, and the beauty in angst is in a lot of your angst is the rug pooling we just talked about. How do you get the inspiration for free and drugs don't work and stuff like that has that kind of twist?
I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think you have to build a relationship with the characters to actually give a shit about them when bad things happen. So like, you can't just go in. I mean, you can go in and make it immediately angsty, and that's fine. But you still have to do some relationship building afterwards to make you feel for them, or during even. Like I can't go in and say, "Oh, this person's dead," and have you give a shit about it. I have to actually make you care.
Yeah.
So I have to make them relatable, and I have to make them likable, and have to make you like them. Otherwise, what's the point?
Is that strict to where you put those really big twists that you kind of build a world and you make us think that we are in this world, that in Free we think that it's a happy fluffy moment where they are at the lake together, and in Drugs Don't Work we think it's this happy family with the Rita and Dean and their kids. And do you have a good pointer for when to put in the twist to make it hurt the most?
I don't. I kind of let the story carry that, and just see where it goes and where it fits as I'm writing it. I kind of know a lot of times where it's gonna fit in, but where it's really gonna go 100% is when I write it out.
And with Send the Pain Below, is how much of it did you plan ahead of time?
Not that much. I knew going in that there was going to be, well, I knew in part one that what was going to happen, and I knew that the reader was going to be a drug addict, and I knew what Jensen and the reader's relationship was going to be, as far as how extensive the stalking was going to be, and how far it was going to go, and even the ending. I didn't know. The original ending was not the ending that you got.
That was the next question. So, if I'm going to take my own last question and twist it a little bit, when do you know if you have an ending in mind or you have some twist in mind? What makes you feel that it's time to change it? That it's not the right thing to do and change it for the sake of the story?
It really varies. If I write a part of the story and I feel like if it could keep going, I'll keep it going. If I think of a new plot twist somewhere in the middle, I'll keep it going. And if it has to change the ending, then it has to change the ending. I'm not really that picky about it, but I'm super indecisive, as you know.
Yes.
I come up with like 4 different endings, and I'm like, I don't know how I want this to end. I don't know which way is really the best way. So I guess I'll keep those in mind and then keep writing and see which way really falls into place and then end it that way once I get through the rest of the story and see which one makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, and Rachel, do you want to take over with?
Yeah, we got Jill's turn. All the smut.
Yes, tons of it.
You brought, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fics for us today, right?
Yes.
So we have our dirty little secret, which I think we've mentioned several times now.
Yes.
But it started off as just smut, and like we said, it doesn't stay that way.
No, it doesn't.
How did it? Can you explain kind of the little bit of process of how it was smut, and then it turned into very much not just smut?
Okay, so like when I started writing it, it was just gonna be smut, and then I got to, I think it's like part 4, and it's funny because Ari, at Bring Me Some Pie 56 totally called me out on it. When she was
Can I stop you for a little bit?
Yes.
Can you give a quick brief summary before we start talking about them so the readers know what we're talking about?
Listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, listeners. Sorry.
Summary is Dean they're asking each other about their sex lives, and Dean finds out that the reader isn't as experienced as he thought she was. And so he feels bad about it and goes to talk to her later, and then they end up sleeping together. And that's like the first part, and then it keeps going from there, and they're like, oh, I kind of like doing this with you. It's something we should keep on doing because it's a good way for them to connect, and it brings their friendship to the next level. And then eventually they end up falling in love with each other. And later out in like 12 Years of Christmas, you find out that Dean's loved her for like years and years and years. So yeah.
So how did
do you want to go ahead and just give a brief summary of all of them before we go to the questions? I think it works better that way. So Trust Me is
an unfinished series that I have that I would really love to go back and finish. It's kind of a friends to lovers one. I do that a lot now that I realize that. And it
works. It's a trope for a reason.
Yes,
it's my favorite trope. So
I could read the shit out of that every day. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah, same.
And they end up there. It's more like kinky shit because it's me. They end up. It's like an exercise in trust, and she lets him tie her up. So then in the next part, he gets tied up, and it kind of goes back and forth about how the reader doesn't want to admit her feelings for him. And Dean's on this path where he's like, I know how you feel about me, and I understand why you don't want to feel that way, but let's just be real about this.
Go, Dean.
Yeah. Next one I have on here is Dirty Girl.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to go finish this one too, I swear. I just got distracted by our little secret. It's actually a virgin reader times Demon Dean. So it's a very interesting pairing. And I don't know how to explain this one well. I'm really bad at summaries.
And of course, we'll have all of the links down in the description box below. So if you just want to just check it out yourself, there you go.
Yeah, that would help on that one because I do not know how to explain that one. Because it's
I was just like, I know it, but I don't know how to. I can't save you with this one. I don't have a good way of explaining it that doesn't sound wrong.
Right, kind of fucked up and dark, but it's totally like consensual and everything like that. But it is dark.
But if you have to describe it, it quickly comes out as non-con, and it's not. Yeah. So best advice is go read it for yourself. And the next is enough.
Enough is actually my only Jensen Times reader that has smut in it. And I really like it because it's like the reader just doesn't feel like she's good enough for anybody because her boyfriend had just broken up with her, and Jensen has been friends with her for a really long time, and he kind of calls her out on it, like, hey, I noticed you're not doing well, and they kind of talk about it and end up sleeping together. But there's emotions attached because it's me.
Yeah.
And then home from work.
And it's Jensen, and he's not an ass, and Yale gets that, so it's a good one.
And he's easy in that one. And then the last one I have on here is home from work, and that's actually like a shameless self-insert, even though it's a reader insert.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And it's just the reader is really stressed out and everything, and she comes home to Dean, and Dean makes her feel better about it. And it's smutty.
It's just smutty and fluffy, and Dean's a sweetheart, and yeah.
And they break a laptop, so, you know, whatever.
Yeah. I mean...
And Rachel started asking you questions, so...
Oh, does Rachel actually get control now?
But Rachel skipped the summary part, which is kind of an important part, so now Rachel gets control.
I said Rachel gets control. I didn't say that was a good idea. Kari has to shut up for a little bit because she likes her own voice.
No, she doesn't. She really doesn't. She just likes talking.
Yeah, same difference. Okay, because this is getting kind of long, guys, and I know people have to go. So our dirty little secret started as just smut. So how did you weave in this relationship and this backstory and all the fluff and the angst and everything in there?
So I realized partway through that Dean can't do anything without feelings. And that's my own little, like, what I think, and people can feel free to disagree with that, but I don't think he can do stuff without strings attached.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of grew from, is that he had feelings.
I think we also have 4 Dean girls pretty much here that will just agree on that.
Yeah,
so.
You're not
Yes, Karina. I'm going to come across this laptop.
Yay! I'm gonna keep talking.
You're gonna keep talking until my hand up smacks her mouth. Okay. So
I want a laptop that works like that I can read through and smack someone.
Karina, I have the control to mute you. I can mute you. I have that power.
Speak.
I'm trying. Every time I try to speak, she speaks over me. Okay, how did you let's do this really fast. How were you able to get through all of this smut? Because it's basically, for the most part, it's just a lot of smut. How did you get through all of it without making it just repeat over and over again?
Because I think they're best friends, and I think that's where their relationship is kind of established, is it's about their friendship that becomes a relationship. And I think that was really important for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just went through like a lot of stuff. Like she had her own shit in her backstory, and he has his own baggage, and they worked through it together, and they did everything with each other instead of working against each other. And I think it ended up adding to the smut more than taking away from it.
If you do that really, really well, you balance your smut, your angst, your fluff really well. And that's also in Enough. You balance that really well. Because you have that kind of angsty part of her going through this really tough breakup, and Jensen's being sweet with his fluffy, and like you balance that really well. Can you talk about that balance a little bit?
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think the reason I do that is because in real life, and I don't know about how everybody else reads, but I like reading stuff that feels real. Mm-hmm. And I think in real life, there's fluffy parts where you're happy for no reason and everybody's super nice. And I think there's angsty parts where you feel like everything is going wrong. And I think if you balance that well in a fic and you write it like it's real life, even though it's not, I think it comes across.
Yeah, it definitely does. And Home from Work was pretty much just that was fluff. That was just smutty, fluffy. Like, I know you said it was a little bit of like a self-insert, but it's so universal. It's universally self. Because I sure of hell have come home from really, really rough days and wished I was calling in bed with a Dean.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Question there. somewhere. But if we just wanted to talk about it, like, I don't know. That was just the other one that I read, and I was like, yes. I come home from work, and I'm just like, where's my dean? I want to. Come on.
Exactly. That's how I felt when I wrote it, and I wrote it at that point in time because I really needed that.
Yeah, I think we all just need to come home to a dean and curl up in bed and pull up some porn.
Can't we just clone him or something, and we all get a dean? Okay, if Rachel doesn't have a question in there somewhere, we have a question from Lacey in the chat.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, Jill, when does our little family start?
When I get to it. So
can we get to it today?
I am hoping that by April I have something.
Yay.
Right now I am finishing up Break a Little, and then I am starting a new series that I'm basing off a song that I just got really stuck in and I cannot get it out of my head. So once that is out of my head, I will write Our Little Family. I swear. I'm hoping April.
We are looking forward to it because Daddy Dean is.
There will not be.
Aside from Friends to Lovers, Daddy Dean is probably my favorite thing to read.
Oh yeah. There will definitely not be as much smut in Our Little Family. Like, it'll be there, but it'll be more.
Oh, you think that having kids pop in on you might put a damper on that?
That's kind of a scary thought.
You know that's bound to happen, though.
Well, now we're excited. And I don't think we had any really questions from our viewers for that one. Unless Kari has some that I don't have.
I don't have. I have put everything in the doc that I had. So. So unless that we're gonna move on to our rapid fire now because it takes a little bit of time for the chat to catch up. But if anyone's watching and has any questions for Jill and Steph about any of the fics we talked about, you're welcome to put them in the chat, and we'll return to that as the last thing we do. But for now, Rach is going to do a rapid fire on first Steph and then Jill.
Karina, why are you doing rapid fire when we haven't done from other authors?
Oh, because I'm a dumbass. We are doing fic recs. We are doing.
You would have learned that a long time
ago. Well, Rachel skipped something. I tried to skip something. Let's do the fic recs then.
I skipped half of one segment. You skipped an entire segment.
Yeah. And moving on, Steph, do you have some fics you want to rec from other authors? And
I do.
I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
I know. We're gonna be hearing about that today.
I wanted to wreck Jill's whole master list, but Karina told me I wasn't allowed to do that.
Yeah. And you are not allowed to wreck entire master list of Anna either. So yeah.
I asked beforehand and she said no.
I asked, so I don't. Not
my So I picked one, although I was torn between a couple. I picked Amnesia by Jill. I think it was actually the first thing I ever read.
It was the first thing I ever wrote.
Yeah, I think that might have been the first thing I read by you, though. It was either that or Lullaby, but I think it was Amnesia. And it was just like perfectly angsty and everything I ever wanted in an angst fic. So I picked that one.
Why do you love it, Steph? What makes it stand out?
I don't know. There's like this horrible injury to Dean, and the reader's a horrible alcoholic, and she's like blind in one eyeball, and she sold her soul.
Oh, this is why I love Steph. Why do you love it? And she lists all the horrible things.
But it ends well, so there's that.
Yeah, it's happy. It's not like you mentioned Lullaby. That one's awful.
I know. I thought about it. I went back and forth. I almost wrecked them both, but then I thought I'd get yelled at. So if y'all want to read Lullaby, you can do that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the list somewhere if I can find where
It's at the top.
we were writing. Yeah.
I also read Broken by Anna. That was Percy Winchester, 27. That one I really like just because it depicts rape in such a wonderful way. Like, I know that sounds awful, but
Yeah.
it's just really, it's graphic, but it's really, really realistically graphic, and then depicts the aftermath of rape in such a way that
It's really graphic and not graphic because
Right.
it's not graphic to what goes on to her body. It's graphic to what goes on in her mind during and after.
It's emotionally graphic, and
Yeah.
I think it speaks really well to what actually happens to victims of rape, and I really, really love it. And then I picked With You by My Side. It's a series by Like a Bag of Potatoes. It's a Jensen reader where the reader is dying of cancer, and that one does not end well, but it kind of does. It's bittersweet, I think, in a way, and I really, really love that. She does a really good job of. Well, Ida does a really good job of.
I made her do a timestamp to that one, and I kind of regretted it.
Yeah, that I think that's where I got the bittersweet because I read it. But she does a really good job of portraying what it's like going through that with someone that you love, and she gets all of Jensen's emotions down really well, and the reader's really strong through the whole thing. Like, the reader is badass, and I really love it. I do. And then You Should Be Here by Appellate Imagining Taylor. Holy shit. That one.
Is it based off the song? I haven't read it, so is it based off the song?
I don't know if she based it off the song or not. It's a Jensen reader. Spoiler alert, Jared commits suicide in that one. The reader is Jared's sister.
Oh yeah, it's based off the song.
I really want to read it now, but I don't want to cry.
That one is just so beautifully done, and I think that was one of the first times I actually yelled at Taylor for an angst. I don't really yell at people that often. I'm normally like, yes, but I went and I yelled at her, and then immediately after I yelled at her, I was like, but you're a genius and I love you. It's like, I would never do something like that because I'm afraid so many people would send me hate mail, but then you went and did it, and I love you for it, and you're the best ever.
I need to read that. I haven't read that. I need to go ahead and read that.
It's really good. And then the last one was Through Your Eyes by T-Rex Rambling. It's a Dean reader that's ongoing. It's a series right now. They're psychically linked somehow. Not really sure how yet. I don't think she's gotten that far. Dean had just gotten out of hell. The reader had woken up from like a coma or something in a hospital, and now she can hear Dean in her head, and Dean can hear her. They haven't met. The reader had a crappy boyfriend, and it's in progress, so I can't really tell you too much because I don't really know much. She hasn't given a lot of details on the beautiful story, and they're falling in love without having met each other, but they can hear each other, they can feel each other, like they can feel each other's emotions and things. And I really like it. And it's kind of perfectly angsty with Dean being who Dean is, trying to keep her safe by shutting her out of his mind and kind of leaving her when Lucifer's around and things like that. And I'm kind of looking forward to where that ends up going.
And of course, like we said, everything will be in the description box below. So if you're watching this later, if you're catching up, scroll down, check that out. All of these master lists are going to be there.
Yeah, and they're going to be on the Tumblr post too that's going up on my blog.
Which means I'll reblog that because I'm not going to make it because that's not my fault.
No, she's the technical person and I'm the one that has to go find all the things.
Hey, I did my fair share of finding fics. Thank you.
Okay, Deal.
Deal, it's your turn.
You brought us some smut.
Yes, I did. So the first one I read was Breathe Relax by Bring Me Some Pie, 56. And if you haven't read Ari, I highly suggest it. She writes a shit ton of Jensen and Dean, and it's always great. But this one she wrote it recently, and I should have reread it before I talked about it, but
So good.
it's like Sam, like the reader's stressed out, and so Dean and Sam like offer to have sex with her, but she doesn't want to like do them both, and she has feelings for one of them, but she can't decide which one. So they blindfold her, and like one of them goes in the room with them, and then she yells out one of their names that, and it ends up being that person. I don't want to spoil it, but I like it. It's very descriptive because she's blindfolded the whole time, and I am such a slut for very descriptive smut. So
The pairing, I just clicked on it because I was just looking at it. The pairing, reader X mystery Chester.
yes. And that's I don't want to give it away when I'm describing it because that takes away the whole point. And
yeah, then if you're intrigued, read it.
Next one I wrecked was Dean's Dirty Little Secret blog, Mimi's Professor Dean AU, which was the first smut fic I ever read was from Mimi. And it just kind of stuck with me. Like I was always looking forward to updates and stuff like that. I always enjoyed reading her stuff. And then Karina let me get away with this next one because it's not a smut
Only
fic.
because I love it so much. Only because I love it so much. Otherwise, I would have yelled at you.
Summer Fling by Supernatural Jackals. Jen is just amazing, and this is so like fluffy and angsty, and there are a couple smut parts. So, boom, I get away with that. It's just about this girl who goes to see her father that she hasn't seen in a long time, and Dean ends up recognizing that she has I don't know if it's necessarily PTSD, I guess we'll call it that, from some shit that's happened in her life.
It
and
is
Dean's
PTSD.
like, is it? Yeah, I couldn't remember if she was like full on or just kind of like nervous. But
yeah,
yes,
especially in the beginning, it's full on. She barely lets anyone touch her.
yeah, that's right. I'm sorry,
yeah.
I'm remembering. It's been a while since I read the first part.
Yeah, it's a while ago, and she actually started the sequel now. So
yes, I love it. So and Dean's like very considerate of it, and he like pursues her in such a way that is not creepy, and it's very patient, and it's very nice to read. I love that fic. I'm just saying, like I'm not usually like, oh, let's read fluff all day, but that one like melts.
And the thing is, you get the distinct feeling that Dean has some baggage too. It's not really explored in this one, but I talked to Jen, and that is going to be explored a lot in the sequel. So yeah, it's one of my favorite series too. So definitely check that one out. So even if it's not a smut fic.
Next one I read is Bravery and Bullets by Eyes of a Disney Princess. Ash is my BFF. I love her to death. This one, she doesn't write often, but when she does, it's always awesome. And this one is the reader is living alone, and then her ex-boyfriend comes in and ends up being a werewolf, and Dean saves her, and then smut happens, which sounds like it could be cliche, but the way Ash writes it never is. It's very funny and natural, and like anything that's awkward that could happen during sex happens in her fics, and that's why I love her so much.
Did I read that one? I think I might read that one. I read that one. Maybe. I need to go back and reread it because it kind of rings a bell and it sounds like something I really liked. But I've been on Tumblr for way too long and I have read way too much.
Me too. I feel like I've been here a while. And then the last one I read was Complicated by Scorpion Girl 1. And I don't know if she writes anymore or not. But I read this one a while.
Not often. I see something pop up once a blue moon, but I don't think she writes often anymore.
I read this one and it just like totally fucked me up because she like starts out, I think, with Dean and she really loves him and he does something that she can't forgive. And then she ends up with Sam, but Sam isn't Dean. And even though she loves Sam, she loves him in a different way. And it's like this constant fight with her. and her inner self, like why she loves both of them, because she loves them in such different ways. And there's a lot of smut. Like each part is smutty, and it explores it during the smut. So I like it. It really stuck with me in like a weird way. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, and Kari and I brought some, because we were supposed to do 3 different genres, and that didn't happen. So Kari and I got together and did some fluffy recommendations. Kari, do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You start.
I start. Well,
I was just reading and considering how to yell at Liz, but yeah, you start.
Well, I literally picked these like 10 minutes before we went live. Okay, not really, like 2 hours. Okay, but Rachel does not plan ahead, guys. But I picked D-E-E, like a nickname for Dean, D by Anna Percy Winchester 27. Sam is de-aged by like a witch's curse or something to like, I think he's 3 years old. So it's Dean and Reader both kind of dealing with Sam being 3. So you have like them taking care of a 3-year-old. They have Dean trying to deal with Sam is 3 again, and he's not really in that, because Sam doesn't recognize him obviously because he's used to his older brother being 7, not how old is Dean? I don't know. Guys, my brain is fried. It's been fried. I'm halfway through the semester. So
if it's right now, Dean is 39.
I think he's like 39. He's modern Dean. He's old Dean, oldish Dean.
Old Dean.
Compared to me, he's pretty old. Just saying. 3-year-old Sam. 3-year-old Sam doesn't recognize him as Dean. So you have all this fluffy, like domestic Reader and Dean, and it's just if you haven't read, it's not angsty. There's no smut because Sam is 3 and they're dealing with a 3. So it's just like this really good. It's so good. If you haven't read it yet, check it out. And the other one is I figured Cass wasn't getting enough love, so I did bring a Cass fic. And from the one person that I know can write Cass like a boss, that'd be Sarah at Bookworm 523. And this one is she wakes up and Cass realizes, oh, she's pregnant. Because he's Cass, he can do that. And he's just, you have this super overprotective Cass. He's like, you can't get out of bed. Like literally, he's like, you can't even get up out of bed to go to the bathroom, and like you can't go eat. You can't move because he's so worried. Because I think I just read it. Sorry guys, I just sneezed like 7 times in a row, and I'm still like allergy. Like I don't know what just happened, but I'm like, ugh, I'm dying. Cass is so concerned because according to him, the baby's half human, which makes him super fragile. And he's just super worried, and it's just so cute and fluffy and overprotective Cass. And of course, Sarah's like the queen of Cass writing because I don't know, that's what she does. So that's what I got. It's both really
So the 2 that I brought are both 2 writers that I found fairly recently, and they have quickly become 2 of my favorite writers generally in this fandom. So be sure to check out both of them as the list. But the 2 fics that I have brought is The Bride by Hardy, the Geek Queen. And it's a Dean X plus size reader. And I don't read a lot of plus size reader fics, even though I am plus size myself, because they are either people don't pay attention to the thought process that it comes with being a little bit bigger than other people, or they go in the other ditch and they are super uncomfortable all the time. And Hannah didn't do that with this one. It's basically Dean is sitting in a bar and a bride comes in, and starts ripping apart her her wedding dress while the people that know her in the bar cheers, and she dances around and has fun. And Dean tries to gather up the courage to go over and talk to her because he really likes her. And he never does. So instead, she kind of just straddles him and asks him to take her home. And then, as she has done that, her insecurity starts setting in because she has never done this before, and she left her wedding because the guy she was gonna marry was an asshole, and her dad was an asshole, and it was kind of a deal. You marry my ugly daughter, and you get partner in my company. And she overheard that. So it's Dean comforting her, and the relationship growing, and it has smut too, but it's really just the way that Dean responds to people that stood out in that one, and she really writes Dean very, very well as well. And it's an AU, but it's still very true to who he is. And the second one is Hail to the Queen by Bex Bunker, and it's a Danielle fic. It doesn't have a reader. It's set in the future, where a few episodes in the future, I guess, and it's kind of her wistful thinking of what is gonna happen with Danielle's character in the show, and having Jensen and Danielle watching it together, and it's just it's a very sweet relationship moment, and it shows very much how I believe those two people to be, the playful teasing and friendship and love between them, and just the badass Anil moment on she wrote it in from the show is pretty awesome as well. So if you like reading that sort of thing, you should definitely check that one out. And she's just an amazing writer. She writes characters and she writes a bit that's not supernatural as well. But check her out for sure.
Yeah.
And now we can move on to the rapid fire.
Kari's ready for this rapid fire, guys. She's like, we're gonna do this.
Because I'm not on the receiving end of it.
So the way rapid fire works is we have this or that questions. So it'd be like if you just choose right off the top of your head, this or that. Some of them are just regular ones. Some of them are fic related ones. Some of them are writing related. So it kind of, yeah. I got them split in half. So this is actually the first time I'm doing the entire list. So yeah, there you go. But we just split them in half. Who wants to go first, though?
Steph's been going first all day. I think she should keep it up.
Yeah, that's mean deal.
I know.
Well, I will have to pee, so I will go with that. Yes, I'll go first because I have to pee.
Alrighty. So Steph's going first?
Yeah.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this or that, pick whichever one comes first. Ready? Beach or mountains?
Mountain.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Cat or dog?
Cat.
Yes. Kari and I always fight over that one.
Well,
Yeah.
I have both, but I have 3 cats right now, so we'll go with that.
But her cats are also like dogs, a few of them. So.
Alright, typing or handwriting?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Typing or handwriting?
Typing.
Asks or reblogs?
Reblog.
Binge or as published?
Binge.
Morning, evening?
Evening.
Text or call?
Text. Oh my god, please text me. Don't call me.
For real. Canon or AU?
You broke up. I didn't hear anything.
Canon or AU? Lots of gifts or just plain text?
Plain text.
While writing, music or quiet?
Quiet.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Series or one-shots?
Series.
Books or movie?
Movie.
Yay, you're good. You did good.
I would like to say Steph is the pro at that. She's by far the one that answered the fastest
Yeah.
of the people that we had.
So you have high
You're good at
standards.
that. On that note, it's Steel's turn.
Now I'm like taking that as a challenge. I want to go faster.
Yeah. It wasn't meant as such.
They're equal amounts, so I mean, you just kind of. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi. Neither.
Long pics or short pics?
Long fix.
Rain or snow?
Rain.
Angst or fluff?
Angst.
I love how that was not on purpose. The fact that smut was not in that.
Wow.
Not on purpose. Because I didn't know who was going to go first. There. Anyway, boat or plane?
Boat.
Reading or writing?
Writing.
Phone or computer?
Phone.
Fan fiction or regular books?
Fanfic.
Explicit or very light smut?
Explicit.
First person or second person?
Second person.
Piercings or tattoos?
Piercings.
Leather or lace?
Leather.
Pasta or pizza?
Pizza.
Writing poetry or reading poetry?
Reading.
And we're done. You did good too. I don't know.
Except her long pause at the beginning.
I was like, I don't like pop.
I love that you went, I'm gonna take this as a challenge, and then long pause.
I mean, Coke is a serious question, guys. We take that seriously.
I was like, I don't like pop in general. How do I answer this?
I mean, when you're talking to someone from Georgia, you always pick Coke. Just saying.
Because Coke is universal for everything in Georgia?
Yes. Pretty much.
That's cheating.
I mean, you could say Coke, and I'll give you a Sprite, and it'll be
Exactly.
Say Coke.
Exactly.
Coke is Sprite isn't in the brand of Coke. I mean, I could go on about this.
Matt, please don't. We have been on for a long time.
You have gone on everything.
This has been so much fun. We should have two idiots bickering as much as us on more often. Because it makes it a lot easier. But we recommend that you go check out Steph's fix we have talked about, and go out check out Gil's fix we have talked about, and all the fig recs that they brought and Rach and I bought today since we were guests short. And next room on Ryder's room is running a fan fiction blog, and I got the wrong date in the doc, so it's on February 25th, and we are gonna be talking to Erin at Black Tide 7.
Yep.
And I'm gonna throw the question post up again on my blog, and you guys can still send us questions because we had to push it a few weeks. But thank you to Gil at Sisterfic and Steph at Torn and Fried for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you guys on.
Yeah.
And Rachel, do you have anything to say, or?
No, that's pretty much all I got.
So you can say goodbye.
All right, thank you, everyone. Don't forget, if you want to subscribe below, you can hit our subscribe button. There's also should be a notification bell, and it'll as we go live. It's usually it's always the same time. Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. in Kari time. I don't remember what the abbreviation is. But
it's 8 p.m. sweetheart.
I know.
Oh, CET. Yeah, CET.
CET, whatever that means. But hit the subscribe button, hit the notification.
Central European time.
I'm gonna get through my spiel eventually, and without her talking, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Central European.
And she just keeps repeating it. Like, okay, we're done here, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.